Now for the real deal New England feel.
I went off the rails. I might show me how to be ashamed of myself.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
CORSO and CATONE.
Welcome into CORSO and CATONE, the real deal New England feel. I'm CORSO. CATONE is here. Joe's with us in the booth. You are watching us on YouTube. Like I always say, when you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. Give us that like, subscribe. Want to hear from you? Leave us a comment, of course, and make sure you give us a call in Heated Hotline, 855-313-PATS, P-A-T-S, or it's a message line, 24/7. Leave us a message. We'll pick one. We haven't had one in a while, though. We really haven't. We've had so much stuff to cover. And in all honesty,
have to make it a point next week to have a.
We've had calls. We have had calls. But you guys are all covering the stuff that we're bitching about, so we're just bringing it up as you bring it in. But don't hesitate. Give us a call, or you can email us on our mailbag, corso.catone@gmail.com. But if you are listening to us, you're doing it on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, anywhere you podcast, you can catch us. Hey, we got a good one. We're going to go weekly rewind, talk about that Patriots Saints game, break that thing down, take a look at it, and that's what 3 in a row they won, and we're going to go for 4. So stick around for that. And we got to do our postmortem for the Yankees versus the Red Sox. Mark tells me he's done a lot of studying this week on these two clown show franchises. So we'll make sure we talk about that. And we're going to talk B's and C's as the Celtics are getting ready for their season and the Bruins are in season. We'll discuss that a little bit. Gentlemen, how are we doing this week?
Hey, we're on a winning streak. We're on a winning streak.
We're on a winning streak.
Patriots. Right. You gotta be excited, right?
Yeah. Feel pretty good about it, or what?
I feel good about it. You gotta be excited.
Are you nervous and worried at all that they're getting too much pub?
We'll see this week, because they should go in and beat this team by a zillion points. They stink, Tennessee. So we'll see. The play call, yeah, I know. We'll see this week, Chris, if they're getting too much. They're reading, they're believing all the hype. We'll find out, I think. Well, actually, over the next 2 weeks, Chris, I think we'll find out.
It's exciting, Joe, isn't it?
It is exciting.
When's the last time we could say we're in first place?
I know. I was actually going to Google that, and I think I'm thinking it's past 5 years at least, right? 6 almost.
When's the last time? I'll even go one better. When's the last time you were rooting for them to actually win and not tank for a friggin' draft pick?
Yeah.
Or that the rituals friggin' mattered.
Oh, yeah. Well, the rituals are back now because,
Well, they never left. But now it's like, it takes on that extra juice. You know?
Yep.
But we need to digress. We need to get into that Saints game and talk a little bit about that. We're going to do it in Weekly Rewind whenever Joe is ready. I'm going back through the week. About a Weekly Rewind. 25-19, the Patriots go down to New Orleans, beat the Saints. Now, not a thorough ass whipping like we had hoped. Mark in this, but but they got the win, and so it goes. And so I want to start with the offense. I want to start with Drake Maye, and talk a little bit about what Vrabel and company thinks about Drake Maye and what we think about him and how he's doing. But this is what Vrabel had to say.
Talked about being able to recognize when the pocket is still there and be able to climb and transfer into the pocket as opposed to, just extending and cutting half the field. Did that at times. Still some things to work on and improve there. But I think that there is, there's a high level of confidence in the guys that he's throwing to, ball placement, decision-making, timing, all those things, accuracy that are critical. And so those are things that we're continuing to see.
Well, I would say that the credit goes to Drake. That's what it always go to. It's not going to go to anybody other than the player that's doing that and improving and understanding and making the plays. His ability to throw off platform and extend and keep his eyes downfield there were some things that we asked him to work on that Josh and Ashton asked him to work on coming out of.
Always brings up the
Buffalo.
other guy, though.
Yeah.
I felt like he tried to do that, and then when he had to extend, have the ability to extend.
Play caller.
I think that's when quarterbacks can feel the rush, but also see downfield and see things develop. That can be deadly. Just it's hard to defend that. As opposed to guys that you see them when they drop down, their eyes go down to the rush. Now they can't see guys open up and come free on the third level. Josh, I think the relationship is great. I think we have a young quarterback coach that we feel very strongly about in Ashton Grant, and I think he serves a different purpose than Josh. Josh has one relationship with the quarterbacks, and I think Ashton has another, and I think that's a good dynamic. I think Josh continues to put things on their plate, and especially Drake, and give him things.
It's so.
Oh my God!
And continue to develop.
It's
wow.
It's to the point, right? And I wanted to go the whole length of it because I wanted to I wanted to see your face and your reaction to see if you were cringed. Is that the word these kids use? Cringed.
Cringeworthy. Oh, by the way,
yeah.
late November 2021. So 4 years last time we were in first place.
Okay.
There you go.
The play caller.
All right. So, Mark, the general consensus, and that was Vrabel, of course, about Maye is the same. Yeah. I mean, we saw it's okay. So you're looking into this game as opposed to what went on in the Buffalo game, the differences between those two. In the Buffalo game, it was playing off script a lot, moving around, creating, right? Whereas it didn't sit in the pocket all that much. It wasn't that kind of game. And the one criticism you and I had of him was, okay, well, like to see him stand in the pocket, climb the pocket, keep his eyes downfield, not look down. All the things Vrabel just mentioned in there, you and I talked about last week.
Yep.
I saw that in this game. Did you?
No, I did. Yeah, absolutely. He moved around up in the pocket, he did what we wanted him to do, Chris. I think the perfect example of that was the 3rd and 9. He moves up in the pocket, slides because a guy's coming up on him, throws the ball almost sidearm, 3/4 probably. Because another guy's in his face, and he hits Hollins 15 yards downfield, Chris. That was the epitome of how he moved around in the pocket on Sunday. Yeah. And that's exactly what you wanted to see. And we saw it.
We did. And because I said, like, once he's able to sit in that pocket, climb, slide around, go through his progressions, read defenses, read routes, leverages, things like that. Once he's able to do that, I think we got it all. And I saw that against the Saints. So
you even brought up something on the touchdown by Pop Douglas that Douglas read, but also Drake Maye read, and they ended up being on the same page on that touchdown pass when it came to the defense as well. Besides moving in the pocket.
2 receivers are stacked to the right for the Patriots. Hollins behind Douglas. And a play fake by Maye. Roll right. Sets up. Plants. He throws a deep ball. Wide open. Pop Douglas at the 14. Catch left side of the 10. Catch right to the 5. To the end zone. Touchdown. Patriots.
Now.
What a throw by Maye. Off a little play action fake to the left side. He resets the feet twice because there's a free blitzer coming at him. He knows it. Let's go with this just a tad, I think, before he wants to, which creates space for Pop to run to. And then he makes the guy miss, and you're in. That's the way you counter.
Chris, but you said everybody just assumed it was a blown coverage. But
right.
It really wasn't when you went back and rewatched the film. Explain it.
Yeah, and of course that was Sosi and Zolak on the call on the Sports Hub. So, it was a choice route. So two real good things happened that I thought by the receivers first in that play. The first was by Booty. So Rudy's running like kind of an intermediate, kind of an over route, okay, where he's coming across the middle of the field under where Pop Douglas was, okay. Pop Douglas is heading up the right sideline, basically, maybe on the hash. And he's coming maybe a little wider than the hash, and he's coming up the field. Booty's coming across the middle, and he's kind of like holding that safety there, so that it can't really can't really come off that route and go over to help where Douglas is. And so what Douglas is doing is he's coming straight up the field, and it's a choice route. And so what's happening is both Douglas and Maye are reading the leverage of the corner or the defensive back that's covering him. Because you had a D-back underneath, and then you had a safety over the top. You had two defensive backs covering that route. So the top end guy, you're reading the leverage. When I say leverage, I mean, is he inside of him or is he outside of him? If he's outside of him, Pop Douglas is going to read the outside leverage that he's leaning outside, and he's going to post, as he did on that play. If he sees inside, he's going to go to a corner route. And Maye has got to read the same thing. So when I've been listening to people this week say, yeah, it'd be nice to see him be able to read defenses and, read things out. No. Listen, you don't know what you're looking at then, okay? Because he is doing that. And that's a deep, deep choice route. He's deep down the field and reading that leverage on the defensive back. And it was an excellent read by both Douglas and Drake Maye.
But those are the things you've wanted to see from Maye, Chris. If he could get in sync, see what the receivers are seeing, and yes, move up in the pocket and do all and make plays from the pocket. But I think the combination of that is what you've said. Well, I still got to see some of this, Mark.
Yeah. Well, we've seen it. I'm seeing it, and let's hope he can keep stacking things together. He's in the MVP rate running right now. The discussion.
Wait a minute. But let's go back to Vrabel's comments, Chris.
Yeah.
What was that? Really?
He's just, I don't know if it's just, I need to get all the guys mentioned when we talk about,
the play caller.
Yeah. When we talk about the play caller, we talk about Josh McDaniels. Anytime McDaniels comes up, it's Josh is great. And then on to the other guys. The quarterback's coach, Dowling, the guys that I brought in. It's never just Josh is doing a great job. These guys are getting along well. He's calling good games. He never gives that props.
No. Nope.
It's telling. It's so telling.
How does that? Tell you. But I don't know how that relationship sustains like that, Chris. Eventually, Josh, I have to say, if people start reaching out to him, and I'm not even saying to be a head coach, maybe to be an OC for another team, he might say, "F this guy, he don't value me."
So.
No, you
don't think so. No, not to be an OC. Those who think that he's happy in New England, doesn't want to leave New England. This dude's got PTSD with that Raiders job.
With head coaching job,
he had and I don't want to dump on that. He had a hard time out there, like emotionally. The reports were that he was basically homesick. Yeah. Missed his family, missed everything, didn't have anybody to lean on, and he just couldn't deal with that. He was having a lot of trouble with that. And, until all of us are in that situation, I don't know. But so, to get him out of New England right now, I think it's going to take a lot. I'm not saying he wouldn't. I just think it's going to take a lot. But he's going to keep, he can't get dumped on. He's got to, give the props where the props are due. Mark, before we go to break, we got to talk about the rest of the offense in this game.
Yeah.
Where the hell? Where is the running game, Mark? And this is what Vrabel had to say.
Keep working. We've had some good runs, and we've had some pitiful ones too. And so we just have to make sure that there's a consistency. That we're coaching the details, that we're coaching the demeanor, and understand that it's gonna be some dirty runs in there, and that we're gonna have to make a guy miss or break a tackle. Things that we've done throughout the season. And be able to do all those while taking care of the football and trying to move the line of scrimmage. So, probably would.
Okay, so that was Vrabel talking about the running game. Mark, what's the problem? Why can't this team run the ball?
I think it's a combination, Chris, of one. We thought that the run game and run blocking would be the strength of this offensive line, Chris. The offensive line isn't getting the push necessarily that we would expect to see. Or we thought we would see based on what we saw in training camp, and we thought that would be the strength of this offensive line. It really isn't. And the second piece of it is, Chris, I think these receivers are focused. Running backs are focused so much on not fumbling the football that, as he said, they're not instinctually running through a hole cutting back into a possible hole. It's almost like they're looking for contact, protecting the ball and going down. And like you mentioned last week to me, Chris, you said whenever he goes to a hole, instead of trying to find a space, Trevion Henderson looks for contact, for crying out loud.
Yeah, he's running to contact constantly.
And he's so small, Chris, running to contact. Once he gets hit, he's not a big guy. He goes down. So I think in the case of Ramondre Stevenson, Chris, he's more focused on holding on to the football. He's not instinctually running through a hole and doing what how you teach somebody to be a running back, especially at this level. So I think it's a combination of a couple of things, not just one thing.
Yeah, I mean, you got one running back that's so worried about fumbling, like you said, that.
I don't know what's up with Henderson, Chris.
But Henderson, yeah, he's running to contact. You could see that. So it isn't just the line. Now, the other problem too, a little bit, is to me what I see when I'm looking at this team. We talked about this too. The style. Well,
what role does the O-line have in this, Chris?
Well, I think they got a significant role. I don't think they're sustaining blocks. I don't think they're. But the problem is the looks that they're seeing.
Yep.
McDaniel seems to be reluctant to want to run to the edges especially the last game. I mean, New Orleans is good on the edges. The two ends are good. Stout in the run game that way. So it's like we weren't trying. And that goes back to what Vrabel said a few weeks ago. Like, yeah, we can't get into the whole, just because we don't like the look that we see, we just don't even try to do it. So I didn't see, I'd like to see more wide runs. I'd like to see more zone stuff to the edges. Not really his type of stuff.
No.
McDaniels.
No.
But that's an issue. The other issue too, Mark, is these teams are playing a lot of single high safety. And man, some of these teams, you're seeing zone looks, yes, but you're also seeing single safety high, which means guys are being committed down into the box, and you really can't run the ball much when that happens.
So what do you do to combat that, Chris?
Well, you got to get better weapons. I mean, when you have better weapons, you can't do that to New England.
Thank you.
You can't. If you got to play, you put A.J. Brown on this team or Abuka or any of the guys you like, you got to play you got to play cover two. You got to play too high shell, and you got to worry about getting beat deep. Meanwhile, that opens up the entire running game for you. You don't have that. So what we talk about all the time was how the outside helps the inside. We've been talking about it for years.
Can I just say this about the running game, though?
Yes,
I love the explosiveness of Henderson. And I think the problem with the two of them is because the other guys starts off so slow that the line is almost already prepared to start slowly. And Henderson almost has an explosive, and I want to see that more often, but he runs at the guys because I don't think they're preset yet. I don't think the line is still set, or they're still setting up to get the hole open. And the
problem is, I get what you're saying. The problem, Joe, is he's not patient enough yet. Where you start to see, next time you're watching some of these games, Gibbs, go watch, next time you watch the Detroit Lions, watch the way Gibbs runs the ball. Okay. What you see happen is their patience in allowing the blocks to set up. So there's a lot of movement on the offensive line. So those blocks have got to develop. Well, Henderson's just hitting that. He's hitting where the hole should be and not allowing the block to set up, not stuttering, not stutter stepping, not taking that little false step to allow the patience to allow the hole to open, and then you hit it.
Right.
That's not happening. That's what Mark means when he says he's running to contact.
Right.
So hopefully it clicks at some point because they're going to need the running game, Mark.
Oh, absolutely, they're going to need the running game.
Going to need the running
especially
game.
If you make you especially at this point, Chris. You say, well, they probably you would hope if they win the games on their schedule that it looks like they have a possibility of winning moving forward. You make the playoffs, you're going to have to run the ball in the playoffs, so you'll get knocked out quick.
So we'll see what happens, but the offense looked good. I mean, it's a different receiver every week.
Receivers, Chris. Yeah, we wanted to talk about the receivers. Let's just do that quick before you go to break.
Go ahead.
So we said last week on the show, teams are going to start to take Diggs out. They're going to scheme to take Diggs out because all you've had pretty much has been Diggs and Hunter Henry. Well, they must have listened to the show, Chris, because all of a sudden, Booty has a good game, and what we thought was interesting, Chris,
Yeah.
was Pop Douglas. Chisholm
felt the footsteps. He felt the footsteps.
Chisholm is active. And yes, he was activated because Gibson's out and they want to use him in the run, in the special teams, in the kickoff game. I get it. And he did a good job as well. But all of a sudden, Douglas is like, oh, shoot. They got very easily just put this guy in for a few plays, and I got a problem. All of a sudden, Douglas showed up, Chris.
Yeah. And a lot of that was designed, too. And a lot of it was what New Orleans was doing. But Douglas had a good game. So we'll see who the receiver is going to be next week, tomorrow on the Pats Nation. We'll talk about that. Who's up next? But Maye is moving the ball around to all these different guys. I mean, shoot.
You brought up Drake Mason in the MVP conversation, Chris.
I think 9, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 guys caught balls again this week.
You said, yeah.
No, yeah, I do. I think he belongs in. I think he belongs in the MVP. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, why not? I mean, he's playing consistent, good football every week. He's the they got that stat out there, the 200 plus yard, over 100 passer rating for how many weeks in a row. He's up there with Marino and those guys. I mean, so why the hell not? Especially at the landscape of the league today with Burrow's hurt, Mahomes isn't really clicking yet. Josh Allen looks like crap. I mean, so why not? Why not him? So we'll see if they can consistently, be consistent with it and stack week after week after week. But this portion of Weekly Rewind was presented by the Pats Nation, Sundays, 8 a.m. Stay tuned. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about that Tennessee matchup. We're going to break that down, Vrabel's trip back to Tennessee and all of that. When we come back, going to stay on the Patriots, talk a little defense, talk a little officials. Talk to you about no flipping.
Sundays are for football. And here in New England, that means it's the Pats Nation with CORSO and CATONE. Sundays, 8 to 9 a.m.
Third down and 2.5 from the right hash mark. 38. Diggs motions right. Maye's looking that way. Doesn't have it. Starts to move around the pocket. Drops back. Fires it deep. He's got an open man, and it's Douglas again with a pirouette for 25. He carries it left. He gets a block to the 15 to the 10. He's gone! Touchdown! Pop Douglas with his second. Pocket, and then Pop Douglas with the pirouette after the catch, but now there's a penalty. Whoa. That? With a very late call and explanation. The teams are already lined up, ready for the point after try.
How do you do that when you're set for a PAT field goal?
And they're going to walk back.
Setting up?
The ball marked down at the 39 of New England, back to the line.
Oh, he went nuts.
Now it's going to be stepped backward with a pass interference call on the Patriots.
You've got to be kidding me.
An offensive pass interference called on Austin Hooper.
Who wasn't even on the field.
That's not what they said.
We're still looking for it.
On the TV, though, they called it on Diggs.
Number 8. So they make the call on Stephon Diggs, and I see Diggs being held up by a defensive back at the 45-yard line.
No. Post job.
Okay.
And the very next play, the other guy's all over him. They don't even call it.
They don't even call it. They have no call. Mark, before we get to this was the explanation, okay, from Hill, the lead, the head judge there, the head official for that crew. On that play, we ruled blocking downfield by number 8, Stephon Diggs. Earlier during the play, Hill explained. So if there's a situation where a player blocks downfield, it's not a foul until the pass is thrown. So you kind of put that in the bank. And then the pass was thrown downfield later that created the offensive pass interference. He goes on to say, the official was processing the play. This is why did it come out so late, the flag? The official was processing the play, and then he came to me over the 020, which is the official communications they use. Hill says, because it was a long developing play, he had to rewind back to what happened at the beginning of the play and process that. That's the explanation, Mark.
What? First of all, Chris, if you go back and watch the replay, he wasn't blocking. So even that whole explanation, if it was true, which
he had like a hand up like this, they both had hands on each other.
It's a bunch of BS. He wasn't blocking. So I don't know what the hell they saw. Chris, that had to be the worst officiating crew. We joke, you and I, about the officials
No, that was bad
all the time, but that was like some of the worst officiating, in all honesty, that you and I have ever seen. It was bad.
That may be, and I'm not kidding, that may be the worst call I've ever seen. No, the worst call I've ever seen was in the New Orleans playoff game where they didn't call that pass interference.
That pass interference.
That was the worst I've ever seen. But this?
Yeah. Well, actually, the other one I remember too, Chris, if you want to really date ourselves, my father went ballistic, was when they called the pass the rough in the passer. I should have
against Oakland.
Against Stabler. He didn't even touch him. Stabler just fell on the ground, and they threw the flag.
They threw a flag. Yeah, that was bad.
And it was like a fourth down play, and we would have won the game. We would have won the Super Bowl that year.
The league should be ashamed of themselves. And to me, and I agree with these guys. Their phones should have been confiscated after the game. They should be looking into whether or not they're gambling on this stuff, or if there's any open, gambling apps or anything like that. Because
they call pass interference on Diggs. Now,
offensive, where his arm's extended.
Now, his arm was not really extended. His arm touches him. There's no push. There's no movement. There's no breaking of stride by the defender. The defender never breaks stride, never hesitates, keeps running, looking up for the ball. And as the ball comes down, he just releases his hand and catches it. I guess by definition, would you call it pass interference, Chris? I don't know. That was a terrible call, too. Horrendous.
It was bad. Really bad. So the officiating sucked. We overcame it, but they got to do better than that. But I had to play that. And so, Mark,
officiating is awful.
So going to, and I want to talk before we go to break and come back with Yankees Red Sox. To finish, I wanted to talk a little bit about coaching, this coaching situation. Yeah. And you know me, I hate the C word, that culture word, but he's establishing something here, isn't he?
Yes, positively he is. Absolutely. And we talked about this last week, Chris. Listen, if a guy screws up, a guy fumbles, whatever, what has he got on this roster to replace him with? If he benches him, who's he dipping into? There's nobody there.
Yeah.
Right? So if Spillane is getting torched in the middle of the field, Spillane's not coming out of the game.
Right.
He can't. There's nobody else to replace him with. So, of course, he's going to build him up after the game and say, yeah, we got to do things better, but, it's on us too. We got to coach them up better. And, he's not calling out the players at all. He's got their back. He's high-fiving them as they go into the locker room. He's giving out game balls, and we talked last week about the fact that, yes, for this particular team, Chris, he's trying to build a culture, a winning culture here again. And he wants players to know, I got your back if you screw up. But as I mentioned last week, I also think that's going to help him come free agency.
Yeah, because, you're right. He knows that what am I supposed, for the defense, we didn't talk a lot about defense.
What do you see building a culture here? What have you seen that says to you, yeah, that's what he's doing? And there's a specific reason for it, but that's what he's doing.
Because when he talks about how much they're going to need Stevenson, when he talks about that kind of stuff, okay, but then, so he comes on the field to block, but he doesn't get the ball until Gibson gets hurt. You see, so he really is disciplining him, but he's, and I see it because I look at his facial expressions. I look at how he's reacting to some of the play that's happening on the field, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And we haven't talked about the defense tomorrow on the Pats Nation. We'll get into breaking down that Titans game. We're going to talk a little bit about last week too, in the middle of the field. But he understands what he has. He understands that Spillane is not Greenlaw. It's not Fred Warner, It's not these guys that's going to go sideline to sideline, crease the lane and stop.
I know you want to talk about it next week. We're going to talk about it tomorrow on Pats Nation. But Chris, they kept running the same play over and over. That swing pass out to the running back. and we weren't quick enough to get there. And you were going ballistic. But
no,
that's all he's got. He couldn't take the guys off the field, Chris.
It's all he has. It's all he has. And so he understands that. And I think, Mark, to your point, I think, you and I were scratching our heads like, what the hell? Why don't understand this? This guy's smarter than this. Yeah, he's smarter than this, and he outsmarted us too. In my opinion, just like you said, and you brought it up and said, no, Grizz, he's greasing this wheel to get better players in here, to make everybody understand that he's got players' backs. He doesn't really, because these guys aren't going to be here next year. That's how you'll know.
Right. Stevenson won't be here next year.
Some of these guys are not going to be here next year. Duggar, guys like that.
Doug's not going to be here. Stevenson's not going to be here. And I'm going to be honest with you, Chris. If Chisholm gets a chance to play, I don't think Douglas is going to be here next year either.
So, again, these are the kind of things that we see him doing. And before we go, I got to talk about in-game management was good. I mean, real good this past week. Noticeable, very good. The way he handled his challenges, the way he didn't challenge. And that's how stupid whoever the hell they got announcing this game for CBS. Oh, my God. I don't know who the hell it was.
That was like
Archuleta and somebody else.
You want to talk about the JV team. Oh, my God.
Because Vrabel had a challenge. It was a catch and then a fumble, and they ended up calling an incomplete pass. And if it was the fumble, we would ended up getting the ball at the same, pretty much within 3 to 5 yards of where we punted. So it was a good no challenge. And that's what I'm saying while it's going on. And these guys are like, geez, I wonder why he's not challenging it. But when he makes that challenge at the end, okay, where Booty catches the ball, doesn't really go out of bounds, stayed in bounds, clock would have won, gets to 2 minutes, and now you're kneeling on the ball versus having to punt at some point. Great game, great call, nice job. But it was can I play this? Because it was a real funny exchange how I get on the media and how stupid ass they are. And if you want to listen, this is the reason why you want to listen to this show and no one else.
Challenged by Vrabel and Stretch. I mean, it was really good. It was good. I don't know how much of a difference it really made.
Oh, won the game, Greg. They won the game.
What do you mean it won the game?
He would have been out of bounds. They would have been out of bounds. If they would have ran a play, would have been the 2-minute warning. They would have ran 2 more plays and would have had to punt it back if they didn't get a first down.
Yeah, with how many timeouts did New Orleans have left?
I believe there was none. They had none left. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They would have still, if they didn't get a first down. The challenge was huge, Greg. It won them the game.
Won them the game.
I just disagree.
Poor Greg.
New Orleans, the Patriots would have run the ball on first down. It would have went down to the 2-minute warning.
Second down,
then they go down another 35 seconds. Yeah. That's 125 left in the game. Yeah. Then they run it again. Yeah, now it's down to it's under a minute. Now it's under a minute. Now they take a timeout before the punt. Yes, but they're at the they're at midfield.
Greg,
they're punting with 30 seconds left in the game.
Listen,
25 seconds.
We can go back and forth.
The Booty play. Matt Jones and Booty won the game. Don't be giving the coaches all this credit. It was a nice play. It was a good job.
Greg, if the players won the game. Coaches credit, it's you. You do that. I am actually saying it mattered today. It mattered.
Did he say Matt Jones?
It mattered.
Yeah,
they won the game.
I think he's that pissed.
It won them the game. They literally were in formation to win it because they had the challenge.
But are you saying that they wouldn't have won the game had they not converted?
No, I'm saying the refs screwed up.
Yeah.
They challenged it, and it won them the game.
I think they were going to win the game either way.
They would be in victory formation no matter after the 2 minutes.
We're going to win the game either way.
They're in midfield. They're punting. New Orleans is going to go.
By the way, this is the post-game
show. They're going to go in 25 seconds with no timeouts. The whole length of the field when they pin them at the 10. Right. I mean, come on, Joe.
That was the 98.5 post-game show.
Listen, they don't have us. I don't know why we're not signed already.
Listen, that was Greg Bedard, Joe Murray, and whatever the hell the other guy's name is. And listen, Greg, you need to come on here. You need to come on this show, Greg Bedard. I felt so bad for him listening to that nonsense. It won them the game. No, it didn't. Greg Bedard was 1,000. It was a nice challenge. It was a good job. But so you would have punted with 25 seconds left. They're not going to drive the whole length of the field with that time left and no timeouts. The friggin' New Orleans Saints, really? won them the game, Mark. I had to play it.
It didn't win them the game. Listen, it was a smart challenge. It saves you the risk of maybe getting a punt blocked or something. Yeah. Okay, great. It did that. Yes. Did it win them? It didn't win them the game, Chris. Come on. No. It was a smart challenge. Yeah, absolutely. Give him credit for it. And you, of course, with your whiny, Joe, of course, when it's happening, what does he say to me? Oh, that reminded me of Belichick when he was in his prime. Oh, shut up. Shut up.
The play caller.
So, I had to play that. So that's our breakdown of that game. Weekly Rewind was presented by Corso Law Group, CorsoLawGroup.com. When we come back, we're going to talk baseball. Going to give our postmortem. Yankees versus Red Sox is next.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. CORSO Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Their 20-plus years experience and attention to detail has helped thousands of people who found themselves in a situation in Arizona. Whether it's a traffic ticket or more serious issue, talk with these expert attorneys. CorsoLawGroup.com.
Back in with more Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. All right, we're behind, so let's get to it. Yankees versus Red Sox.
Look, again, Aaron's been very classy. We've all been very consistent with that. Honestly, from the entire organization, he's got a lot of talent. But for me personally, one of the worst construction of a roster I've ever seen. You have 3 left-handed catchers. You have 5 DHs. You have a first baseman in and out. It's just a very, very difficult hand for Boone. And honestly,
look at Mark's
they were exposed against a much better Jays team.
Aaron said it. They got beat. You know, last year you can sit back and talk about the World Series in Game 5, and you can say Yankees beat themselves in that particular game. In this series, the Toronto Blue Jays proved that they were a better team. Right? From top to bottom, they're a better team.
Which is
what's tough is for the Yankee fans. Right? This is the second year in a row that they've watched another team celebrate on their home field. And you can feel the frustration. But look, those press conferences that Aaron just did, we've all been in them. They're very, very difficult because we've been a part of teams that we thought we're going to win a World Series. Thought we were the best team, and it didn't happen, right? So I think sometimes you got to sit down and let it all digest for a minute. And I think it's probably a longer conversation to what you had brought up, Al. But Aaron did a good job. I mean, look, he's working with what he has to work with, and he sticks up for his players. I know he takes a lot of heat. But, look, I'm not saying it from any inside knowledge, but I'm pretty sure Aaron's not the one that's calling every move that they make throughout the game.
So that was Alex Rodriguez and Derek Jeter discussing the New York Yankees. And I wanted to play that before we hear from Mr. Catone.
What a disgrace, Chris. I agree with A-Rod, first of all. Yeah. He didn't even get into the fact that you got a bullpen that you can't even match lefty-righty up with because you only got one left-hander in the entire bullpen. You made all those trades at the trade deadline, and you only got one left-hander in the back end of your bullpen. You ought to be ashamed of yourself with their goddamn money and resources, and that's all you got coming out of the bullpen is one goddamn left-handed pitcher? Come on. So I agree with A-Rod, and I agree with Jeter. I'll preface that by this. I know they both got a bone to pick with Cashman because, you know, in the process of their careers in New York, Cashman played games with money and all the stuff. Maybe they want to give Jeter the big extension at one point, and they didn't know if he was going to become a free agent. So they do have an axe to grind with Cashman. However, I still think they're right. Today, Cashman and Boone both have a press conference. Cashman says, we've had success and failure. We had a good team, but we fell short of our ultimate goal. And I'll leave it to the masses to debate that. He said, but, I'm proud of a lot we accomplished. What the hell did he accomplish, Chris? Please tell me it's the New York Yankees. You're not the goddamn Seattle Mariners. You're the New York goddamn Yankees. What did they accomplish? Tell
Listen, to me, not a goddamn thing. They didn't accomplish a single thing.
How does this guy's gonna have pictures of he's gonna have pictures of this guy on the island. He's gonna have pictures of Steinbrenner on the island, something.
I'll give them this. It looked like Aaron Judge solved his post-game problem. I mean, he was the best hitter in the postseason for all teams. I mean, his numbers were great. He did a lot of home runs, but he got on, he moved run. I mean, he played well. Fine. Okay. What did they accomplish? Nothing else but that. And I will agree with Jeter in this sense. Okay. When Girardi was fired, Girardi was his own guy. Okay. He did the things he wanted to do. And they brought a puppet in. They brought a guy in that's going to do the bidding of I agree with that. Just like Breslow's that kind of guy for the Red Sox, where this is the disgrace, Mark. The disgraceful part also is the owner. Now, the owner's not in there. The GM's not in his ear when they're deciding to, put Weaver in, pull him early, pull a pitcher early. Well, no, they are in his ear pregame when they're talking about pulling a pitcher early. But you understand what I'm saying about moving base runners and bunting and stealing and extending.
Chris, can
I think Jeter gave Boone a little, his former teammate a little too much credit there.
Yeah. Can I give you a stat?
Of course.
The New York Yankees have been in existence since 1903. Okay. In the entire time. 1903. Yeah. In that entire time, not one single manager was granted a 5th season as a manager without winning a World Series.
Right.
Well, that was until 2022 when Aaron Boone returned to the dugout. 2026 will be Boone's 9th season without winning a World Series championship. That tells you everything you need to know about where this organization is at this point in time. It's not about winning championships anymore, Chris.
No.
It's about the bottom line. It's about money. It's not about winning championships because from 1903, he's the first guy they brought back. That's the 5th season without a championship, Chris.
It's very Bruin-esque, isn't it? With not to cross sports with the Bruins, where they're just happy to get in the playoffs. That's all they want. Ownership.
By the way, today they drop on you. Boone. They asked Boone about Jason Dominguez, and he says, "Well, we think we're going to send him down to winter ball and get some work." And yeah, he's definitely in our plans next year for the outfield.
In your plans?
Listen, Chris, you know what he says? He's going to be hopefully be our left fielder.
Oh, God.
Chris, the kid's a center fielder. Why? Still with the left field, Chris. He brings up left field. Okay? Now, one of the best prospects in their entire organization, Spencer Jones, 6'7", left-handed hitter, young stud, was one of their top minor leaguers in the whole system. They asked Cashman about him. Cashman says today, Spencer Jones is in the conversation for a spot on next year's team. But again, we'll see how the offseason plays out. Are you kidding me? Give the kid, Chris, bring up these young guys. They're going to bring something to your team you don't have. Bite the bullet. You got to get rid of Stanton. What are you doing with these guys, Chris?
Judge has got to become your DH, Mark. Judge has got to go to DH now. He's done.
The window is closing. It's like this right now with Judge in his prime. You got Garrett Cole, who's going to be 35 next year. Okay. He's not starting the season. He's not going to start the season because of the Tommy John. So he's going to.
Neither is Rodon.
Rodon now had bone spur shaved down. He's going to be out until he's going to miss a few starts at the beginning of the season. So now all of a sudden we thought we were going to have a great starting rotation. Now here comes all this BS, right? And all this stuff. So, Chris, this team needs a lot of help, a lot of work. They need a ton of bullpen help. The roster's flawed. Listen, you screamed the entire series against Toronto. Whenever anybody got on base, why aren't you stealing on this? I'm not going to say what you called the catcher.
That fat slob?
No. Why do you? I was trying. You can't call him that.
I don't care.
Right? Chris is screaming. Seattle First 2 games of the series at
Kirk.
Toronto, as soon as they got guys on base, Chris, what do? Room. They just started running because he can't throw anybody out. He can't get up.
He can't even get out of his stance unless you're hanging a friggin' sandwich over him.
Listen,
I don't care. Listen, yeah, Mark, the
So
bullpen
Yankees,
problems,
Chris,
they got to figure out what they're going to do with Volpe. The other guy,
that's the
he
other
opted
thing. They
out.
brought up Volpe today. And what does Boone say? Oh, yeah, I expect him to be I expect him to be in the mix at shortstop.
Be a suck-ass player that he was last season, too.
He said he was injured this year. Well, what about the previous years? What are you talking? Bring up the kid Lombard. Give him a shot.
Yeah, you got a right fielder that you can bring up. Who's that? The 6'7" kid?
Yeah,
you got that kid. You got the shortstop you can bring up, and if you want to move Volpe over to second, Chisholm go play third.
Dominguez should be playing center field.
Dominguez should be playing center, and then you got to figure out what's going to happen. If Bellinger opted out, so is he gone? I don't know. First base, is Rice the answer? I don't know.
Well, now a lot of teams are interested in Rice. Go get some guys in return, Chris. No, they're reluctant to get rid of him. Why?
Fine, trade Rice and go sign Alonso.
Go sign Alonso. He's a right-handed bat. Let him go play first base. Like, I don't understand. It's the Bruins.
You don't have to worry about when you have to play crochet anymore. You put that kid in.
Chris, you're right. It's the Bruins. It's make the playoffs, make your money, bottom line, right? That's what it is. And the Red Sox are no different. Don't be fooled by the Red Sox.
This is them.
No one will sit in this seat and say that there's enough pitching in the organization. I think we saw that in the second half, and we could list out the pitchers that were on the IL, and it just means that depth is so critically important. So, like I said, when we talk about pursuing opportunities to improve the team, bringing in pitching,
I was a Major League Baseball player.
What I have seen as a player and what I've seen over the last couple of years is that with this ownership group, when there is a chance to build a winner and a team that can contend for the postseason, like, resources aren't a problem. And I think we've talked a lot about how this window of contention is upon us.
That was Craig Breslow.
What a complete boob.
Yeah, his boss was sitting right next to him when he said that.
Their
resources are not a problem. That Devers trade was solely based. I can't listen to one more person tell me it was a culture issue. We had to get rid of Devers. He was a problem. They won 4-5 in a row before they traded him. Don't give me he was a culture issue. Even the media is buying all that bullshit now, Mark. They traded him because they didn't want to pay him. Was it the best contract in the world? No. But that should have been given the bets. But Chris, the point is,
he was, and you know what else he was? He was a Yankee killer.
And you did nothing. You did nothing to replace him. Listen. You want to trade him because you think he's lousy? Fine. Then go get quality. They had trades on the offers on the table. They could have got a lot better back for him. They don't want to go get another starting.
They didn't want to take on any contracts, Chris.
No, they didn't want to go get any starting pitcher. They didn't want to go get Ryan from Minnesota. That would have brought them. That would have put them. That would have put them in the ALCS. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Roman Anthony got hurt, but Mark, here's the biggest thing. Wait. Yeah. This is the biggest thing now. Bregman now opts out, which means he's gone. He's gone. They're not going to re-sign him once he's opted out.
Chris, I from what I understand today, now whether or not it falls through or not, I don't know. He's supposedly got a handshake deal in place to go back to the Astros.
Bregman?
Yeah. Supposedly he had a handshake deal to go back because the Astros told him when he signed, I guess they told him when he signed with the Red Sox, if you opt out, the handshake deal was, we got a lot of money coming off the books and we'll bring you back. That's supposedly being reported now that was the conversation between the two. When he signed with the Red Sox, if you decide to opt out, we've got a lot of money coming off the books and
Then you know what? Listen, once that happens, once he's gone, you took the two batters in your lineup that were going to be the murderers. There were going to be the two guys, Devers and Bregman, right? And it was going to solve your third base problem. It was going to solve your infield problem. You were good to go. And then all of a sudden, Roman Anthony is a pleasant surprise. And now you got 3 guys in the lineup. Now you're going to have nothing for Devers gone, Bregman gone, and all you got is Roman Anthony because the rest of this lineup, stinks. It is trash.
Chris, Anthony fitting with their financial, fitting with their model. They signed him to that extension because it's cheap money, Chris. By the time he's ready for a $400-500 million contract, he'll be 28, 29. He's going to look for one big payday. They're going to move on from him. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I don't have a problem.
No, I don't have a problem with that. But my point is, they got these young guys that fit into their model, Chris. They're not going to go spend $500 million anymore on a player. They're not going to do it. You let Bogarts go. You let Betts go. You let Devers go. I don't think you got a major
and you're going to let Bregman go.
I don't think you got a major league player on your roster for any of those trades left.
Right.
Any of them.
Right.
Now, in response to free agency today, Chris, or yesterday, Breslow, they were talking about Bregman and free agency, and here was his response. So much of the offseason is building contingencies and alternatives and identifying your pivot points. It's a lot like when you choose your own adventure book. That's what he said. So he's basically saying,
"But he's the biggest dorky. This guy's talking about Dungeons and Dragons. This stupid nerd. Are you kidding me right now? What the hell?" And Red Sox fans, listen.
But Chris, the point is, he's choosing pivot points, which he's telling you, we're not going to sign Bregman. We'll pivot from him. We'll pivot after he leaves. He's basically telling you we're not signing him. Dungeons and Dragons. I like that, Chris.
Well, that's what this dork is talking about. Listen, Red Sox fans, and listen, fans, you bailed them out again. You took this bullshit hook, line, and sinker. Okay, they see you coming. The owner of this team sees you idiots coming all day long, and God bless you. Stand up and be heard because this is nonsense. And because New York's got to do it next too. Stand up, be heard, and get these clowns out of town. So both of these teams are going to have the same problems they had next year that they had this year. Red Sox may even be worse.
Positively.
So we'll see what happens.
I think Chris, many guys on that roster overachieved this year. That probably won't happen 2 years in a row.
Story may opt out too. And then what are you going to do at shortstop?
Yeah, I don't know if he'll opt out, Chris. I don't think anybody's going to give him any money. I think they realized that it was a one-time deal. But still, you're right, Chris. He could opt out. I don't think he will. But do you honestly think he's going to give you another year like that? No way.
No. So, listen, that's our postmortem. That's our baseball. We're going to be down for a while on baseball, but I want to hear from you. Make sure you let us know what you think. But Yankees versus Red Sox was presented by the Pats Nation. Sundays, 8 a.m. Eastern. We're the first pregame show of the day. And tomorrow, we're going to be talking about that trip to Tennessee, all the breakdown of that and so much more. When we come back, got to talk a little B's and C's, Bruins, Celtics, no flipping.
Sundays are for football. And here in New England, that means it's the Pats Nation with Corso and Catone. Sundays, 8 to 9 a.m.
Back in with more Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. All right, Joe's aching to play I think this is the best wash we have. Bruins, B's and C's. Joe.
Hit it! There's offer the Boston Celtics are the world champions, and they have shown the world how great a ball club they really are.
Screen shot.
There was no question in my mind that we're going to stay in the game even though we're down 2-0. I know my guys will respond. The thing is, it's hard. It's hard in this league to chase the game, especially against a veteran group. It's hard, and when you're not ready to play, you're going to do that, and it might work once in a while, but. I'm a big believer. They just wanted it more than us today, especially in the first half.
That was Marco Sturm, the head coach of the Boston Bruins. Your 3-1 Boston Bruins to start the season, Mark. We were recording on Thursday, so I think that they're playing, Vegas tonight. So they're on a West Coast trip. What do you think, Mark? What do you are you liking what you're seeing so far from the Bruins and the goaltending? First, two questions. Okay, yes. 2 questions. Yep. One, looks like we're setting up for another goalie platoon.
We are.
Again.
And Swayman, Chris, I don't think has looked bad.
No, I thought he's played well. Caposalo.
I think Swayman is one of the reasons why, they're 3-1. And I think, especially that opening night, he came up with some real key saves.
Like night. 35 saves or something like that.
Opening night against the Capitals. Yeah. But you're right.
Why are we doing a platoon then with a guy that we're paying $8.5 million a year to?
I don't get it. I don't get it, Chris. I don't know. So what else? You said 2 things. You said we're setting up for a goalie platoon.
And are we going to fall asleep watching all these games?
Yeah, you might, because I think that's the style that they're going to be playing, Chris. They don't have the horses to do it any other way. They're going to have to get some key power play goals. They're going to have to get good goaltending. They're going to have to get some clutch plays here and there. They're going to have to try to kill penalties, right?
Mark, I mean, the lineup.
Chris.
Offensively, and they know they are too. I mean, Neely in a press conference, you heard from him. I have it, but we don't have time. He basically says, you got to make moves when you can make moves for offensive guys. We'll see what we're going to do. So they know they're devoid of talent on the offense, especially in the forward spot.
I mean, how much can Pasternak do? I mean, you got to continue to count on him. You can't every night.
That line of Geeky, Lindholm, and Pasternak. After that,
they got nothing.
Nothing. I mean,
Chris,
Zaka.
Think about opening night. Pasternak. They don't win that. The only reason they beat the Capitals opening night was they had Pasternak, right? Yeah. He was dominant that opening night.
Defensively, better. It's a little better. I mean, you got Laurie and McAvoy and Lindholm and Peak and Zadorov. I mean, defensively, they're not too bad, and that's what they're going to be. This is going to be a team that's going to just bog things down in the corners. They're going to flood the zone, the neutral zone. They're not going to let you into the zone easy. Okay, it's going to be real physical, but what you give up when you do that is a lot of offensive chances. I think in the first game, they had like 10 shots total going into like a ridiculous number or something like that of how many shots they had. So that's what you're going to see from this team. Now, can you win like that? Yeah, because you can win hockey games playing that way. It's a boring style, but you're right. A lot's going to depend on the goaltending because you're going to get, you're going to get a lot of the shots on goal are going to be so unbalanced in every game. That's the issue.
That first game against the Capitals, Chris, for instance, I think he had 35 saves. You're going to get a lot of shots, you're going to get a lot of nights where he's going to have to come up with 33, 34, 35 saves because you're right. It's going to be very unbalanced because you don't have the offense and the style you're playing. To your point, Chris, you're going to reduce the number of chances you get anyways. So yeah, the goaltending is going to have to come up big. Back to your point of, well, then why are you platooning? Get somebody hot and let them go.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, hey, look, they're winning right now. If they can keep winning, what the Bruins want. They just want to make the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. Mark, we can't leave the show without talking. I have to. So, Joe.
Well, we're really up against it, though.
Yeah, well, we're going to go over today because I got to play this.
Just keep playing. Find guys that will rebound.
Is like, do the wings have to do more? Do you need to see more credit? What's the philosophy there as far as like wings crashing and stuff like that?
Is find 5 guys to rebound. Jack?
Joe, you guys have taken a lot of threes because your personnel is allowed for it these past few years. You guys are employing a faster paced style this year. Is the process of getting to those changed at all because of the faster pace? Does it lend to it differently, or is it just the same process?
I've answered that question 100 times. Find a 2-on-1, make the right play versus the 2-on-1. That's that simple. Could be a 3, could be a layup. Find a 2-on-1, do it. I've answered that for 2 years now. Find the 2-on-1. What does the 2-on-1 present? Are there 2 shooters on the 2-on-1? There's 2 shooters on the 2-on-1, you pass, you're an open shot. There's not 2 shooters on the 2-on-1, you cut. You create a 2-on-1 in a different way. I've answered that for 3 years. Why do we keep asking that?
That, of course, was Joe Mazzulla.
Oh, my God.
When asked about the 3-point shooting. What's his problem, Mark? Why is he so pissed off to answer a question that's completely legitimate, you jerk? You took the most 3-pointers in history last year. Okay. And it cost you.
Yeah.
It cost you. That play style cost you, and he will
Chris,
not
listen,
own it.
Even if Tatum didn't get hurt, they were in trouble in that Knicks series. I don't know if they were going to beat the Knicks anyways, even if Tatum doesn't pull the rupture of the Achilles in that game. So you're right. The 3-pointers cost them last year. Listen, you're not going to win a championship with that style. I will argue, and I'll still argue it when anybody wants to argue with me. The year they won the championship, they got real goddamn lucky that somebody knocked out Denver because they were beat. Minnesota knocked them out in 7, and then Minnesota got beat by Dallas. I'm telling you, Chris, it was a nightmare matchup. They turned it into a half-court game. They weren't going to beat Denver that year. They wouldn't beat them. Denver would have repeated. Trust me. They got lucky that their style against Dallas worked.
Yeah. And I got to leave the show. Before we leave the show, and look, if you don't want to listen to us, last year when they lost to the Knicks, Tim Legler, okay, respected basketball guy, right? Would you say? This is what he had to say after one of the Knicks games.
What the Boston Celtics did last night was an insult to basketball, in my opinion, man. That's an abomination. An abomination offensively to play the way they played. And look, if people are going to sit there, well, that's how they play all the time, man. Live by the 3, die by the 3. What are you talking about? Watch the game. The Celtics contingent and people that love the Celtics or that defend the Celtics are going to say today, well, they're all uncontested threes. My ass. I watched, I wrote them all down. What I didn't understand was why were the Celtics playing as if for literally an entire 18-minute stretch, they played offense like there was 3 seconds left in the game. Every guy that caught the ball.
Right,
That's
he's
what
right.
I was trying to figure out. What the hell is the hurry?
What the hell is the hurry? So that's your national look at the Boston Celtics right now. So I don't know why Missoula's so pissed off. I don't know what's the year to come. Now we got to deal with Jaylen Brown, tweaked his hamstring a little bit. So we'll see what it's going to be like when they tip off against Philadelphia next week, if he's going to be in the lineup. But Mark, I don't think they're going to change. I don't think they're going to change their style.
They're not changing. This is his style. He's not changing. No.
And he's pissed off answering the questions. Well, Joe, you're going to answer the questions all damn year because nationally, locally, and everywhere else, everybody but you knows you can't win that way. So, Corso and Catone was presented by the Pats Nation. Sundays, 8 a.m. Eastern. Tomorrow, we're going to have our full pregame breakdown of the Titans games. Sunday spread. We're going to make you some money. And come back next week at noon Eastern. We will talk more Patriots, including that recap of that Titans game, B's and C's. Catone's comments will be back, so make sure you're tuning in for that.
Yeah, he stiffed me again this week, Joe. He stiffed me.
Anything you bring to the table, we will be ready. We are Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. See you next Saturday.
Now find Corso and Catone on AM 790, The Score, iHeartRadio, iTunes, wherever you podcast. Or subscribe to the YouTube channel and catch the chaos every Saturday at noon.